Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Committee Reads. I am your host, KWCEs, and with me today, I have Fat Bacon Unicorn and GVR. And today, we will be reading KWCE number 20, Ghidorah Showa vs. Rancor, by Shipper's Dreamer. Tatooine was not a special planet to the galaxy. The most notable thing about it was the pod racing that had died out years ago, and that it was the base of the notorious crime lord Jabba the Hutt. A common saying amongst the actual residents of the planet was, "At least we aren't Jakku." For as little Imperial watch as there was on both planets, Jabba's criminal empire at least brought in some sort of revenue for the planet. How quickly would that all be washed away, though? Licking his lips nervously, the pale informant of Jabba the Hutt gave the proper identification towards the Gamorrean guards, trying to control his shaking as he waited for the dim-witted thugs to hurry up and let him talk to Jabba. The matter of life and death, not just for Jabba, but for everyone this planet. I think that's everyone on this planet, but oh well. He hissed urgently at the guards. Although he doubted they would take him seriously, he wasn't going to give the proof for the hired thugs. Once it was established that yes, he really was who he said he was. Okay. I'll repeat that again. Once it was established that yes, he really was who he said he was, Mosep Benid usually didn't deliver information directly to Jabba himself, but this was too important for an underling handle. To an underling handle. That's a little weird. The sound of music and deep bass laughter of Jabba the Hutt reached Mosep's ears, and he resisted the urge to gulp when it all died down when he approached the large hut. Jabba peered down at his accountant, rumbling out his low bass voice in Hutzi. "Mosep, I hope the information you have is as important as you claim it is." He tried not to flinch, but instead dutifully held out a few data pads. "I assure you, Jabba, you will want to hear about this. Planets in the unknown regions are disappearing. Well, what little planets we know are there are gone. That's not all. We have reports of whatever is causing the destruction to them is coming here, to Tatooine." The datapad swapped hands throughout, before eventually reaching Jabba's eyes. Mosep could hear the high, bell-like cackling of the creature. That was all they had. No one could take a video of the thing. They all died trying. "Are you sure it is coming here?" Jabba asked, scrutinizing his informant with sharp eyes. The Hutt trying to discern if he was being lied to. Jabba always knew somehow if he was being lied to. Yes, I'm 100% certain that if we don't leave soon, we'll all be dead." Now was not the time to mince his words. Even if it meant his death later, he could at least die knowing he tried to warn them all. Die trying to warn them all. He hoped that Jabba would realize that he wouldn't risk his own life over something he wasn't absolutely sure was real. Jabba hummed, mulling over his options to himself until the entire palace shook violently, few patrons falling over as Mosep's eyes widened in horror. Pass.
"We're too late," he announced at large. "It's already here." Jabba grunted, apparently having different ideas. "We're leaving," the Hutt boomed out loudly, silencing any and all noise. "Prepare our evacuation ships and release the Rancor. Perhaps we could be lucky and my small pet shall be able to take down the creature." Of course, everyone knew what the real purpose behind this order was, simply to buy everyone time to escape. Thick and rusted metal doors began squealing and cracking open. The Rancor's caretaker watched with tears in his eyes as the light and sand began pouring into the creature's pen. The winds were howling outside, and while sandstorms were a common occurrence on Tatooine, Everyone knew this wasn't a natural one. "Be safe," he whispered, climbing into one of the ships as quickly as possible. Those who weren't fast enough would be left behind. Everyone was replaceable. The Rancor gave a low grunt of dissatisfaction at the light shone through, and it held up one of the giant hands that block it a bit. Rancor eyesight were notoriously poor in the sun, and the desert planet on Tatooine just made things harder to see. Yet even the poor eyesight of the Rancor could see the glistening, beautiful golden scales of King Ghidorah. All three heads stared down at the creature with burning hatred towards the harsh sands, and a loud bell like roar of the space demon echoed loudly across the winds. Okay, two more. A stream of yellow lightning exploded out of King Ghidorah's mouths, the golden kaiju flailing its head wildly as his gravity beams soared through the sandy ground, sending dirt and sand flying as the Rancor squealed in pain when the beams grazed its hind. Jabba's pet roared in anger, rubbing forward and swinging one of its claws, Ghidorah easily pushing itself back into its wings and laughing mockingly at the Rancor. Grunting in annoyance, the giant beast slapped its claws on the ground, pushing off all fours and kicking sand behind it as it barreled at King Ghidorah, tackling the giant creature off of his feet and sending them both tumbling to the hot sand below. The Rancor Nod, okay.
Nod.
Against Ghidorah savagely, scraping scales off as it tried to dig its claws into the golden dragon's stomach. Screeching in annoyance and pain, King Ghidorah's two other heads bit back against the Rancor, easily ripping through the hard flesh and tasting blood. Jabba's pet howled in pain, focusing its attention on the other heads. The middle head angled itself, raking a gravity beam directly across the other creature's face. More blood sprayed across the sand. The Rancor clenched his face, stabbing off Ghidorah and roaring in agony. Past.
How do you not know the word nod?
I don't know, I looked at it weird and I'm looking down at the same time.
Okay.
Just like how you didn't know the word outer instead of other? Or, like...
Yeah, no, I know the word, it's just my dyslexic ass.
Okay.
Alright.
Sure, okay. King Ghidorah rose to his full height, giving a mocking cackle at the Rancor. Was that really the best he could do? The Rancor bellowed in anger, scooping a handful of sand and throwing it at the space demon's three heads, the wind blowing the sand directly into the six eyes of the golden dragon. Ghidorah gave an enraged scream as he shot gravity beams wildly, flailing his head and marching closer as the Rancor slowly circled around its prey. The gravity beams clipped one of the escaping ships, smoke curling into the air as it plummeted down near the great pit of Carcoon, exploding on contact. Ghidorah's head whipped around at the sound. He beat his wings and lifted off the ground effortlessly, I assume. The winds howling in response as he flew towards the sound of the crash, the Rancor getting back on all fours and pursuing the golden dragon. The Rancor leaped at Ghidorah, but the dragon easily lifted high into the air, laughing sadistically as the Rancor slammed into the sand below. King Ghidorah descended, slamming its full weight onto his opponent's back. The space demon howled in pure joy at the sharp crunch of bones breaking could be heard from the screaming Rancor. Ghidorah lifted high into the air again, once again pressing down on the Rancor, bringing out another scream of agony from the creature. As Ghidorah lifted off for a third time, he felt a sharp tug at his leg that sent him careening back down to the ground. The fighting had spilled close to the Sarlacc pit, and the giant plant was eager to feast on the meal of a lifetime. The golden dragon roared in pain as the sharp teeth dug into his leg, the acids of the Sarlacc dissolving it as the Rancor wobbled to its feet before lunging at Ghidorah, slamming the space dragon against the side of the pit and ripping into the left head's neck. King Ghidorah cried out in pain at the combined assault, his two other heads grabbing the Rancor by its stubby legs and hauling it off the left head, managing to throw the beast off to the side as he began flapping his wings as hard as he could, lifting into the air with the Sarlacc still clinging onto his leg. The Sarlacc shot out more tendrils, grappling onto King Ghidorah's other leg and snaking up to his waist. The golden dragon screamed furiously, beating his wings even harder as the ground began shifting. Dirt was piling up amongst the sands as Jabba's pet stumbled back to the ground from the tremors. Everyone that escaped watched in terror and awe from the sky as King Ghidorah rose into the air, ripping the Sarlacc out in its entirety. Ghidorah rose higher and higher before finally shaking the plant loose and watched as it fell down onto the Rancor, exploding in a geyser of dirt and sand. King Ghidorah landed as the Rancor groaned, sluggishly managing to push the dead Sarlacc off of its broken body, and shakily attempt to get to its feet. The space terror roared into the sky victoriously before aiming all three heads at the Rancor, blasting it apart with powerful gravity beams. Seared chunks of flesh and blood splattered across the sand until there was nothing left but a bloody, burnt smear where the Rancor used to be. As the escape ships left orbit, Jabba could see the thick black smoke rising from the surface of what used to be Mos Eisley. The planet would be doomed, as would many others, no doubt. For the first time in his life, Jabba the Hutt felt pure, unbridled terror as the image of King Ghidorah, trampling through the burnt city and cackling madly into the desert skies, was burnt forever in his mind. Winner, King Ghidorah, Showa.
Winner. Oh, okay. There was a delay there, and I was like, oh. Okay.
I don't get to end these usually.
True. Fair. Nevertheless, though, King Ghidorah Showa versus Rancor, also known as King Ghidorah Showa versus Rancor, featuring the Sarlacc pit. No, this one's solid. This one, like, I think the fighting's a little short, but at the same time, what can you do with, like, I guess, like, tooth and claw? Like, I guess, like, someone like Rancor specifically, who's just purely tooth and claw, against someone like King Ghidorah. Like, I'm sure there could have been, like I said, the Sarlacc pit really. Yeah, like, jumping straight into it, it's like Sarlacc pit in particular, I think, was a real highlight here. I really enjoyed that sequence. And because it was like, it's an element of the terrain in this universe that's utilized. And, it was really cool. Like, the idea that it's like King Ghidorah is getting restrained by this friggin' thing, only for Ghidorah just to pull the thing out. It's like, whoa, that's really cool. It's definitely, I don't think it's something you see in the main series that I'm aware of. And it's nice to see, I guess, like a fun interpretation here. So, and I think the story around it's all right. It's got good build up to the fight. Like, it's nothing like crazy extravagant, but it's solid. So, this is all around like solid work from Harley. A couple missing words apparently. Should have double checked on that to be sure, but oh well. But otherwise, though, this is a very fun, enjoyable little read. And heck, I think the shortness can be a benefit if you're just looking for something quick. So, that's what I have to say.
Yeah, I have no idea what to say that you haven't, gonna be real. Damn. Surprised there's no banner for this one. That, like, someone didn't make a banner for it after it happened.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised. So, GVR, what'd you think of it?
Overall, very solid match. Quite liked it. I did really enjoy the bit with the Sarlacc. That was a very unique thing. And I love how King Ghidorah is depicted as such a threat in this match. Like, it gives Showa Ghidorah... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. Oh, go ahead.
Like, it gives Showa Ghidorah the proper credit he deserves that he didn't get in later movies.
King Ghidorah versus the Empire win.
That'd be awesome.
Just have King Ghidorah fight Xanon.
That works too.
But it being short is fine in my opinion, both because of, how limited the Rancor is in combat, and also because it helps establish how big of a threat King Ghidorah is. I mean, he just thrashes the Rancor so easily.
Yeah. Took the Sarlacc pit to try and even things out, but even that was just kind of short-lived.
Yeah, he just pulled the entire Sarlacc out, which is an awesome mental image. Yeah, I do believe Harley had intended to make this the first of a series, but I think she's abandoned that.
Ah, bummer. Yeah, I thought I heard from her that she was gonna make a more elaborate series that would have had Ghidorah versus the Empire, but darn.
Yeah,
that's a bummer.
Yeah, I think I remember her saying she abandoned it. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, or do. I don't know.
Darn, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think Harley's also said she doesn't really care much for this match now.
Okay. Well, it's a nice little independent match, so,
Well, I think that's just because, you look at your old stuff and you're like, oof.
Yeah. No, and we all do that. frankly, we all do. It's like, ooh, not that great.
Even when other people are like, this is great.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know what you see, son. I don't know. I remember this one was specific for May 4th.
Yes.
Because May the 4th be with you. You know how it goes. So.
Yeah. Always good to have KWCEs that go along with something.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Do we have any additional thoughts before we move on, or?
I don't.
No, I'm good.
Alright. With that said, this has been KWCE number 20, and we will see you guys next time for KWCE number 21. Till then, folks.